Okay. So now, anyways, I have all here. What I'm doing, test 2. So now I'm setting up at a schema level. It is 20 days. Okay. For schema, I'm setting up 20 days. Now I'm executing. Okay. So now let me see. See, the schema level now 20 days. Test 2 schema level 20 days. If I'm going back and if I'm checking again for this particular where I have created the table, still it will show as a 10 days. Even though if you're increasing the schema level, but the table level I set up as 10 days. So for this particular table, it will consider only 10 days. So now I have set up 20 days for this particular schema. I'm going to create another sample table here at schema level. So now if I'm checking for this particular table at schema level, by default, I'll get as a 20 days because I have set up at schema level 20 days, right? So now I'm going to create this particular table with specific. What will happen? We will see. Now if you look at $30 days. So the key point here is if you are not setting up something explicitly for that particular table, so it will try to inherit and it will see at schema level whatever the time period is there, it will take. At database level, whatever it is there, it will inherit it. If you are specifically explicitly mentioning that particular days, it won't look at the schema level and database level. It will just simply consider whatever you have specified at a object level. So this is how you can set up, or this is how you can configure the time traveling for a particular schema or for a particular database or for a particular table. Is it clear this point, this particular point? Anybody has any queries? How to set up at a table level, how to set up at a schema level, how to set up at a database level. These are the three things. So either creating that particular object, you can use this particular data retention time in days parameter and you can set up, or else you can alter that particular table or particular schema and particular database you can set up. Is it clear that point? How we can configure at a table level, at schema level and database level? Any doubts? Okay. So now the second key point here is now we know how to configure it. So the second key point here we need to understand is, so what will happen if I set up a time traveling or data retention time in days at a database level equal to 10 days and I have created a schema and inside that schema I have created a table. What will happen? We will see that also. That option we didn't try it, right? So I'm setting up at schema level as a 0. So now if you see, no time traveling period. Now I'm going back to the database level and database level I'm going to set up 20 days. Okay. So demo 2 database level I set up a 20. Now inside this demo 2 test 2 is there. Test 2, what is the time traveling period? We'll see now. See, since explicitly I have mentioned as a 0, it is not inheriting. But if you create a new schema inside the demo 2, so if I'm checking this particular thing, see, it will automatically take the database retention. Okay, is it clear or any confusion? Nothing. It is a very simple. So if you are not specifying explicitly anything, it will by default, it will take whatever is there at schema level or whatever is there at database level. But if you are specifying explicitly, only that particular value will consider.
Sir, the hierarchy is if you give time travel to database level only, then it will
Yes.
automatically go to schema.
And if you are not specifying for the schema, when we are creating the schema, you are not explicitly mentioning anything, then it will automatically consider the database one. But if you are mentioning explicitly something, then it won't consider the database one. It will consider the whatever you are mentioning there.
Sir, is it possible to give time travel to database level and schema level both in both places at a time?
Yeah, you can give it. That's what I'm saying. If you are giving a both places at a time, it will consider as an individual level. It won't go at a kind of a object level. So whatever you are specifying a object level, that it will consider as a for that particular object purpose, not hierarchy level.
Okay, sir.
Yep.
And sir, retention is we have to give like this only, no?
Yes, yes. So this is the parameter. By using this parameter only, you can configure this time traveling or retention period. So time traveling is nothing but a data retention time in days, right? So you mean to say retention in the sense you are going to retain the data up to these many days.
Okay, sir.
So for that, technically they named as a time traveling because we are traveling back. But how you are going to configure, how you are going to deal with that by using this particular parameter, data retention time in days. So this is how you can deal with the database level, schema level, object level. Explicitly, you can mention, or if you're not mentioning explicitly, it will inherit by default. Okay. So that is
Okay.
all about kind of a object level, schema level, and database level. So now coming to the actual thing. So at an object level, if you're specifying how it is going to be worked out. So I'll be moving back to the demo test because at schema level up database level you have set up so many things, right? So I'll drop that particular database later. So now I'm just creating a table from based on the customer in this particular demo. So now
Database spelling, sir. Database spelling.
yeah, sorry. By default is 1 day is expected. So I'm just checking for the schema also. One day. Now check for table also. One day because I didn't specify anything. So now this is the default one. So now, so this is my table. So for example, now let me filter out a couple of things. I'm just taking sample records. These are the two records. Okay. See, sometimes like when we are writing a queries and all worksheets, you used to like this. Okay. So there is a high possibility accidentally before, like I want to execute this particular one, but by mistake I just executed this. I just press Control Enter. So what will happen? These two records will gone. Just copy the same one only. So now if I'm checking this, those two records not there. So now we have a three ways to get back this data by using a time traveling feature. One is, so now we can see timestamp. What is the timestamp? So today is 27th
Tuesday.
March, Tuesday. Tuesday.
Wednesday, sir.
Okay. This timestamp one is little bit tricky one. I mean, if we are missing something like a typo or any spelling and all, it is a kind of, it won't give that as a result. So this is just for your understanding purpose only. We mostly use offset one. This is a more user friendly. We'll go with this one. So let's try. This is Wednesday. Today is 27 March 2024. Feature data is not yet available. Table name is given my table only, right? Yes. Okay. What is the timestamp? Okay. This 20. See, system will always having the UTC timestamp, right? Our time zone is a different. So 26, we will try. Argument timestamp function before needs to be constant found cached. So the timestamp, let's see exact template if they have changed something. So whenever you get something like if you stuck something like this, you can go to the Snowflake documentation. You can type time traveling. So here itself it is saying, right, session with the non-UTC time zone. So there is a community will be there. They will use this particular community. This is fine. It will confuse more. Okay, let me go to here example itself. Enabling, disabling the time traveling. So how you can enable it? How we can enable the time traveling for a particular table? How we can enable? Just now we discussed, right? How we can enable it? Come on. How we can enable it? Or how we can configure it? How we can configure the time travel? Just now we have sorry. How we can configure 90 days?
Time travel retention in days.
Data, you need to remember this particular parameter. This is what I'm saying. So during interviews also people will ask you. Just now only we discussed and people are struggling to mentioning that, right?
Basic sir, we can set to the 90 days.
Data retention time in days. I was consistently repeating this. So this is can be controlled by developer or data engineers. How you can control it by using this. How you can configure it by using this particular parameter. How you can enable it the time traveling by setting up this parameter. I just now mentioned, right? I am going to disable this time traveling by setting up 0 at schema level. So see, one question they can ask in multiple ways. Okay, so there is no always they can come up and they'll ask same thing. So if they're asking in a multiple ways also, you need to be able to answer it. So during interview, somebody will say, okay, how we can disable the time traveling period? By using the data retention time in days equal to 0. If I'm going to set up 0, then the time traveling will be disabled for the particular object. How I can enable this? By using this parameter. This timestamp only I'm using it, right? Let me give the full time. We'll see what will happen. Come on. They're using this format only, right? What we are missing here. Okay, let me check this. I'll come back. This it will take some time because this particular time format it won't accept as I mentioned. So it should give there is a specific format. I'll check and I'll get back.
So
So
can
we'll
we
see.
use the 00 for the time format?
Yes, you can use it 00, but it should be within the time limit, right? If you are using the 00 means, see, now we have started. It should come something like between the time frame we need to get it right before the time frame. So if you are saying like 0026, and from what was the, you didn't create this table itself, right? Before this time,
Okay.
we just now created the table, right? You got my point. See,
Yes, sir.
maybe probably if tomorrow you are coming and if you are trying to with the 00, it might work. So let me check this particular exact time format, how it will work, and I'll come back on that. So now we'll see the remaining two options. I don't want to hold you people by trying everything here. Okay. So now we'll see offset. So now last 5 minutes, we will see what is the data. So now this particular record came or not, we'll see. Not yet. So now let me put a 10 minutes. Is it more than 10 minutes? I don't think so. It's only 10 minutes, right? No, it's only okay. Let me do one thing. Make it simple. Now nothing is there. Let me travel back 2 minutes. We need to wait at least 1 minute. No? Then we will see. Wait for 1 minute. So this is something is like, so you are traveling back kind of last 5 minutes or last 10 minutes. So minus 60 minutes, and you are giving a kind of how many minutes you want to travel back. So it will travel back based on that minutes, but that time, it is something is a kind of a relevant time frame whatever you have done. So now you just deleted and you want to travel back like some 10 minutes before, 15 minutes before, it won't allow. So it will just allow within the time frame. For example, if now I have deleted, now if after 2 minutes I want to check, I want to travel back 3 minutes or I want to travel back 2 minutes, then it will give the data, but not beyond the limit. So in real time, most probably we'll use this one and this one. So I used to go with this particular query ID, because for each and every query execution, we have a particular query ID will be generated. So based on that query ID, you can get back the data. So let's try with this, then we'll go with that option. But this timestamp I'll check and I'll let you know. So this is a little bit tricky one. So we need to give exact spelling, typos and all everything, spaces, hours, minutes and all. So I'll check and I'll get back to you on this.
Okay, sir.
So now let me put, see, so the time frame, if you're giving the time, it will automatically travel back and it will give in the data. Please remember, it will just give the data for the only select. It won't be available in the table. Okay, it will just give select. So now it became 3 minutes, I guess. So I'm traveling back to, did I execute a delete or no, right? Select only I have executed, right? Wait for 1 more minute. Okay. So now is basically what will happen here. It will just look at for the minutes, not seconds and also. At least you need to adjust with that minutes time frame. If it is like kind of 2 minutes 30 seconds or 2 minutes 40 seconds, at that time you are executing, at 2 minutes you won't get it. But if you are trying for 3 minutes, till that third minute not yet completed, so you won't get the data. So we need to kind of a little bit adjustment is needed for this before. So this is a kind of a rough estimation. We can achieve it by using this before offset. So now if you want to give at class also, it is possible. So now let me see. So this, as I mentioned, it will take exact time consideration. So it is little bit, we need to wait for next minute turnaround. Then you can get it by using the at or before, whatever it may be. So you can need to wait for 1 more minute, then you will get it the data. Now coming to the query ID. So what I mean to say, now for suppose if I'm executing this particular thing, okay. So now check my table. These are the two entries are there. So by mistakenly I deleted this. So whenever this particular command is executed, there will be some query ID will be generated by the Snowflake. Here itself you are able to see. Earlier that query ID you need to go history and you need to see, but now you are able to find out that query ID here itself. You can click on that. It will show that query execution, query ID, everything will provide here. So you can copy this query ID. And I'm giving that particular query ID here. Before this particular query ID execution, whatever the data is there. So these are the most recommended options, these last two. So this is timestamp one. Rarely we'll touch it. I'll check the timestamp and I'll come back, because we need to see exactly this typo, spelling, everything with respect to Snowflake compatible. But these two options are is clear, or any doubt? This is like kind of a, you can rough estimated time frame, you can travel back, but these minutes should be rounded. So now 3 also gone, I think. We need to check 4. Okay, because the data is already, I have recreated the table, right? The requested time either beyond the allowed time travel period before the object creation time. See, now I have recreated the table, right? So that's why it's not executing. So with this is the most relevant option. You can go with the query ID and you can get back the data what was there earlier. So I'll explain about this, what is mean by this query ID, how we can profile the query ID, how we can see that like how the query execution is done. Is it something is going wrong with that query execution? So basically how we can tune that query, we'll see, we have a separate session for that. Is it clear about these options? This is still pending. This I'll check and I'll get back to you. But other two options are clear?
Yes.
Okay. So now coming to the quickly see the dropping also. So now for example, if I drop my table, so now my table is got dropped successfully. Now if I want to select this particular table, it's already there. Okay, it's gone, right? It's not there because I have dropped the table. So by using undrop, you can get back that particular table. My table is successfully restored. Now if you're checking this particular one, so anyways there is no data in this. So let's take some table which is having a data customer. So I'm going to drop customer. See, the customer table is dropped. Now I cannot access that particular table. If I undrop that particular customer table, it came back. And now if you want, you can access it. You can count the data also. Everything will be there. It is just straightforward command. You just need to undrop it. So this is same thing will be applicable for schemas as well. So now if you see demo 2, I have a test2 schema. So I'm going to drop this particular schema. Now nothing is there. So if I refresh this, the test2 schema itself gone. So now you cannot access that, you cannot access anything. So now you can undrop particular schema. It is demo 2. What it is saying? Schema test2 did not exist or was not purged because I am there here in demo database, but I want to restore demo2.test2. That is not going to be helpful. So this is a limitation with the undrop. So this undrop commands, it should align with the current database and at least the current database and current schema. If you are going with that object, it should be current database, current schema. If you are going with the schema, it should be under this particular current database. So now let me change to demo 2 and we'll see if I'm able to see it. No, because I didn't drop it from this particular database. By mistakenly, I dropped from other database. So if in case under this demo 2, I would have been the test2 schema, it is drop and undrop can be possible, but it is not kind of a cross database or cross schema. So always this drop and undrop, it is relevant to be the particular database and particular schema within the current, I mean to say current database, current schema only is possible. So now test3 is there. So I'm there in demo 2. I'm going to drop this test3. Now I'm going to undrop this test3. See, test3 is because I'm there in the current database. So this is the important point with respect to the drop and undrop. So whenever you are performing this drop and undrop, it should be related to the current database and current schema, even though if you are going the objects also. And the fail safe. So for example, like fail safe, as I mentioned, we don't have any control and we can't do anything. But I just want to show you people like how we can see that this particular fail safe. So now we have created multiple tables, right? So these many tables we have created. And schemas, these are the schemas. Okay. So now if you move, this is the kind of a databases under. So how many clone group IDs, active bytes, so means what is the storage it's occupying for this particular tables, and what is the time traveling bytes and failsafe bytes. See, these are the tables already moved to the failsafe. So here you can able to see already the table is moved to the failsafe or not. Table is created, dropped, table entered, failsafe. When it is entered, this particular day, maybe these are the old tables. Okay. Here you can able to see, I mean, what are the tables are entered into the failsafe, when it exactly entered into the failsafe, and how many bytes or how much storage occupied for the failsafe. You can able to see in bytes, but you can just only see, you cannot do anything. By with this information, you can reach out to the Snowflake support team and you can ask them to restore the data. They can able to help you. So that's all from my end. If anybody has any queries, please let me know.